All right, so this is Linda Vetras-Nichols, and all of us have just published a book. So cool. High Vibe Women with Heart, Genuine Transformations. And in the first part of the book are our transformation stories. And we start with chapter 1 with Shell. So I'll let you go, Shell. Doing a little reading from our book.
Thanks so much, Linda. So chapter 1, loving yourself isn't selfish. I kept thinking that I was somehow earning their trust. I was showing them that I could be a little bit more versatile than just a graphic designer, and they could throw me in wherever they needed me. That's exactly what started to happen. They heard me and they kept piling it on until it wasn't manageable for me anymore. I kept going and it became overwhelming. Even now, I live by myself and I'm very independent. I do like to do things for me. I'm also very introverted, so I don't necessarily have this need to go out at night. I'm the type of person who can easily go straight home from work to relax and unwind from the day. If I needed to stay late at work to get things done, that wasn't a big deal for me. However, there was never any, thank you so much, Shell. We really appreciate it. We know you're probably exhausted. Why don't you come in a little later tomorrow? Just take your time in the morning and get some rest. There was none of the sort. Everything built up, one thing on top of another, day after day. There really was no end in sight. It was like, how long can I keep banging my head against the wall? As I look back, I was people pleasing the whole time I was with that company. It really took a toll on me. I was stressed out, worried, and having panic attacks. My mind was constantly in what did I forget to do? Who did I forget to help mode? At that point, my people-pleasing mentality had become detrimental to my health and well-being. It was affecting my ability to get things done well and help other people. More to the point, my boss and coworkers could see I was breaking down, and yet that didn't stop them from adding things to my plate. I was naturally good at doing things and getting things done. The attitude was, oh, well, she'll just stick it out. She'll survive. She'll get it done anyway. We don't even need to give this a second thought or worry about her at all. She'll stay no matter what she's going through. So they acknowledged what was going on and yet weren't about to do anything about it. They just kept things the way they were. That's where the toxicity part came into the picture. So this really brings up like so much crap for me, but also realizing that this presents itself in other ways. This really like, it isn't just about being a people pleaser. It isn't just about being in a toxic environment. It isn't just about doing all the things. It can translate to your home life too. And so one thing that really stood out to me as I was reading through this book and learning more and more about everybody else's experiences was Stina's part of the journey. And so I want to share that with you guys now as well, and how I think that it relates to what I went through. So I'm going to hop to chapter 6, Scrap the Pattern by Stina Marie, page 107. The overparent is constantly making sure that the other adult isn't fucking something up. When that doesn't happen, they will step in and fix the situation in order to protect their kids. The outcome of that scenario is that the overparent is now unable to nurture, guide, and connect with their children. There is no longer neutral energy to focus on and give their children their undivided attention. Overparenting the underparent, the adult who can't function as an adult, is more emotionally and mentally exhausting than just parenting a child. When you are in the position of needing to parent an adult, in order to protect and parent your children, you are fighting against decades of pattern trauma and emotional drama. I know that releasing the type of relationship allowed me to become more present and connected with my children. Previously, the chain of command was me as the overparent, monitoring my spouse, the underparent. He ruled over the kids, bossing them around, telling them what to do, how to think, how to behave. He parented based on his needs. I've been so drained by the whole thing. I lived my married life being consumed by my kids. It was so exhausting. I was always on alert and always watching out for the other parent to fuck something up that I'd have to fix. Quite the fucking paradigm to operate in. If someone is holding an emotional doubt over you, it is abuse. It is codependency. It is the weight that they are projecting onto you that will continue to perpetuate the feeling that you are never enough, can never do enough, can never be enough in the moment, because it is a debt that is that is ever increasing as you pay it off. The compounding interest is never satisfied. Whew. Wow. I cannot tell you how much this relates to what I was going through in my work environment as well. I was the overparent, parenting my boss. I was constantly micromanaging everything that was going on, managing all the things that could go wrong for everybody, managing the screw ups, taking the blame on myself. And there was no end in sight of like getting any recognition or relief, or anybody taking responsibility for their own actions to do things better and take accountability for what they were doing. And so I was always in that overparent micromanaging mode of like making sure nobody else fucked anything up. It just goes to show that like our home life, our professional life can really be so intertwined and similar. And even though they're experienced in slightly different ways, the journey, the process, the trauma is the same. And I really learned a lot from reading about being an overparent, and as somebody who's not an actual parent yet to children that I've birthed. It kind of blew my mind that this could happen in a similar way, and that I could be a parent, considered like an overparent in this situation. I never would have used those words to describe myself. So I really love this passage from Stina's own words, and they really like kind of give me a whole new perspective on my own words and my own journey as well. So thank you, Stina. And thank you, ladies, for allowing me to share and make that connection with you.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you, Shell. Jennifer.
Well, thank you, Linda. I'm so honored to be here today with all of you and to be talking about our books and sharing the lessons that we're taking away from not only our own stories, but those stories of other women who have walked a similar path. In chapter 2, Shattering Your Limiting Beliefs. As I journeyed through my early 30s, my confidence was quite low. There were a lot of fears that I was dealing with. For instance, I believed that I wasn't good enough. I had heard those messages when I was young, and instead of questioning that belief, I blindly believed it to be true. Not good enough or smart enough to become successful. And from that belief came one very scary question. What if I fail? The best part about feel the fear, experience the doubt, and do it anyways was that university taught me to be an independent thinker. Although it did not teach me how to manage my emotions, my relationships, my mindset, or my finances. I had to figure those out by trial and error. And after reading the other stories from the women in this group, Linda's story really resonated with me. And specifically her chapter 3, Walk at the Level of Your Soul. Evolution of a Woman. I remember being in my mid-30s and watching a slightly younger woman process through her childhood stuff. The 30s is a real painful time because you still feel like you need a mother, but you don't have a mother. Basically, you're sitting with all of the things that are wrong with your mother, all the patterns, all the whatever that isn't true. You really want to break them because you don't want to pass them on. You're just so generationally conscious that it hurts. That's what made all of my 30s feel super painful. Oh gosh, Linda, I could so resonate with that. And as well, in my early 30s, I was raising 2 children. And at that time, I decided to leave the workforce to raise the kids full time, and really struggled with, the comments from society at the time, as I chose to do something different than the status quo. And also being very aware of the patterns that were passed down from my childhood, and really being conscious of not wanting to pass down all those things, and yet not having a lot of support in my life at that time to manage all these different pieces. And so I just found that your story was just so juicy, Linda, and I could really dive into it, and really see myself in what you were experiencing in your early 30s too.
Thank you. Chapter 3, Walk at the Level of Your Soul, page 58. Soul-to-soul connection is in the energy of the new world. Everyone is doing their inner work right now, which leads to embodying the soul. Finding people who are willing to go there is so much fun and creates a beautiful connection. Chapter 7, Choosing Unity by Jen-U-ine, page 126. We truly meet and share our lives. Skipped word. When we truly meet and share our lives, we create a type of learning that we don't even get through higher education. It's a transformational learning rather than just informing one another. Listening with the intent to understand is transformative. This is done by focusing our energy into curiosity and care for the person we have before us. These are the seeds of sincere presence. People know when we are being sincere. When we are, the other person starts to trust us. This excerpt from Jenny's chapter is what I call walking at the level of your soul. Alexandra?
Beautiful hearing all those insights. So I'm going to read from chapter 4, Shine Your Light into the World. What I figured out is that there is a guidance that comes from somewhere. There's a presence. That's what I mean when I use the word divine. Some people call it God. Some people call it higher self. Some people call it the universe, inner guidance, or inner voice. Intuition is another word people use. It's definitely a divine intelligence. I'm learning that it's a guidance that is already there, and as humans, we get to reconnect with that guidance. It is our divine light, our true soul. When I connect with my light, everything in my life goes into a mode of ease and flow. Suddenly what I want in my life shows up. It's just instantly there. I find it to be quite fascinating. You get to listen, trust, and act upon your inner guidance, your divine light. That sounds so easy. It's actually the hard part. It's where the real work takes place. When we are tapped into our divine light, it's like tuning into the correct radio waves so you can hear the show. That frequency is always there and we get to tune in. So rather than saying what you want to happen, you get to claim it for yourself and then let go of the outcome. It's about having a sense that it's going to happen instead of I want it to happen. Yeah, this light, this divine light is something what really, really fascinates me and is, I think, one of the pillars of my life. And another fellow woman, high vibrating woman with heart that has this big deep inner journey and connection to meditation and to that pause is Jennifer. And I really want to read from her, Shattering Your Limiting Beliefs, chapter 2. Pausing long enough to reflect. it was through that reflective process that I started to hear my voice, and my voice became my guide. I started to trust myself and build myself up. All of a sudden, my intuition was leading and guiding me. I started to listen to it. My new mindset was to look at the upside of things. I'd never taken that path before. A big part of that was because all of the noise that was going on in my mind. Our intuition is constantly giving us reminders. It's up to us if we choose to listen. Yeah, thank you so much, Jennifer, for your wisdom.
And Dorit.
You Are the Queen of Your Kingdom, chapter 5, page 86. And it goes a little bit like this. My story started about 9 years ago when I got burned out from having 5 kids and working 7 days a week. I was taking care of a pet shop, doing everything, including heavy lifting, inventory, and all of the ordering. I was the only employee, and I was exhausted. I also had kids in 3 different schools, a husband, a big house, and 3 big dogs. I enjoyed and still do dog breeding and going to dog shows. My attitude was, I can do this. I can do this, this, and this. And of course, I can even do that. I was also a people pleaser and couldn't say no. So when I was asked to find something to share from one of the other amazing books that we are talking about, I instantly connected with 𝗪𝗪 book, Loving Yourself Isn't Selfish. And I want to share chapter 1, pages 14 and 15 with you. There was never any thank you so much, 𝗪. We really appreciate it. We know you're probably exhausted. Why don't you come in a little later tomorrow? Just take your time in the morning and get some rest. There was none of the sort. Everything built up and one thing on top of the other, day after day. There really was no end in sight. I was like, how long can I keep banging my head against the wall? As I look back, I was people pleasing the whole time. The whole time I was with that company. It really took its toll on me. I was stressed out, worried, and having panic attacks. My mind was constantly in, what did I forget to do? And who did I forget to help mode? At that point, my people-pleasing mentality had become detrimental to my health and well-being. It was affecting my ability to get things done well and help other people. And what me and 𝗪 are sharing is our journey from being those people-pleasing, stressed out ladies, and our transformation into becoming the queens of our lives and shining at the level of our souls. So thank you, 𝗪, for sharing your story.
Sina.
Chapter 6, Scrap the Pattern. The choice is yours. Do what you need in order to put yourself in a situation where you do not have to work so fucking hard trying to be happy. Quit the job, leave a relationship, sell your car, move to a new city, meet new friends, disconnect from your dysfunctional family, or whatever else you need to do. It's okay to make life easier on yourself. I find that my boundaries and the system I use to make decisions makes my life simpler and more sustainable. When you take action and change your external reality within your relationships, work, family, home, etc., to match your internal reality, your thoughts, beliefs, and news stories, you can literally feel your load lighten. You're free. You might find yourself looking back and asking yourself, what the actual fuck was I thinking? Why did I stay for so long? I really had no idea how good I could have it. When you know that you have what it takes to change your response to any circumstance, person, or event, you have real personal power to create your new life. You can participate in the drama or not. You can take action to change the situation or not. You can stay or you can say, I'm done, and leave at any point in any situation. It's all a choice you get to make. It really is that simple. You really are that powerful. All right. So when I was reading through the book, I found in Dorrit's chapter where she talks about her doggies and training dogs, I found was so resonant to the way that we make our own choices and sort of retrain ourselves, if you will. So this is from chapter 5, You're the Queen of Your Kingdom. She says, become a respected leader. When you're not being the leader, your dog won't listen to you. That's just a given, especially with 𝗪𝗀𝘀𝗲s. I found that they see you as weak if you are not being the leader. If you don't establish that quite early on with any dog, you're in trouble. Then later on, she goes on to say that luring with treats. I believe luring with treats is good if you know what and when to do so. If not, you will most likely be rewarding the wrong behavior. If you are too early or too slow to give your dog a treat, you're rewarding something different, and that can turn out really bad. And she tells a great story. I won't read the whole thing. You'll have to read it in the book. But I loved thinking about how when we're making our own choices, it's like we have to learn to reward new behavior in ourselves. And we've spent so much time kind of rewarding those old choices and that old behavior that making that shift is kind of like training a little dog in our own brains. So I loved that. And thank you so much for sharing those like really unique stories. I loved learning a little bit more about dog training too.
Yeah, that fascinated me as well. Jenny.
Yes, I get to share from chapter 7, which is my chapter, Choosing Unity, page 135. When it comes to choosing unity and connecting with others, choose truth. There are so many angles when it comes to the word truth. Let's begin with our own way of perceiving our own experience. We get to meditate on truth, own it, and relate to it purposefully. As a woman, we are now being encouraged to speak our own truth. So there's that piece of truth. Then there's tell the truth and the lie of omission. When it comes to speaking my truth, the only thing that I can bring to the table is how I see it. For example, a tree has a certain color. I can only share with you how it looks through my eyes. It gets really crowded when we are all claiming to know exactly what's objectively correct. We are all in discovery here on this earth, trying to understand, searching in order to make sense of things. There's a humility in there when we make room for how everyone sees things. I've been in so many spaces that were crowded, and I know what it's like to fear saying the wrong thing or fear making the wrong decision, because we tend to have this ideal of what life should be. And I love when we are able to be vulnerable and share that it really starts with accepting ourselves first, so that we can own ourselves and share ourselves powerfully with the world and learn and grow together. So I want to bring up your chapter, Alexandra. Chapter 4, Shine Your Light into the World, by 𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗀𝗪, page 76. Sometimes the fear of rejection creeps in, and I remind myself that I am worthy no matter what. This allows me to accept others and walk in a space where I might get rejected. My new self-talk is maybe I will get rejected, maybe I won't. Let's just see how things work out and what happens. This way of thinking creates freedom and opens me up to receive big love. This new mindset brings in the waves of trust. Thank you, Alexandra, for your vulnerability and sharing your truth and your view in this, and that our level of connection and our sense of unity will never be higher than our level of self-acceptance. Thank you.
Awesome read, everyone. Thank you.